Hello everybody, welcome to a very special video announcement. The exciting thing too is that we're excited to go talk more about some more Shadowverse EVOLVE content, especially with the release of the English soon. But we do want to talk about something important and something that I was actually supposed to do a video on myself, but unfortunately I got busy myself.
As a result, I am here, Twintail joining Rikka T to do this post-event or post-occurrence of this. So why don't you go ahead and lead us to what we are discussing here.
Okay, so today's discussion will be actually about the most recent hit, basically. Actually, the first ever hit that we ever had in Shadowverse EVOLVE.
Right, so the game's been out for roughly, half a year, give or take?
Yeah.
Yeah, half a year, right? Game's been out since, the summer of 2022? Maybe spring, I don't remember. But, we find out that Rikka Games life, as of now, it's December 2022. We find out that Dragon decks of all kinds, we have the ramped mid-range from Dawn of Genesis, and then we have, during Black Silver Bahamut, a more controlled variant, kind of consolidates itself from the end of Dawn of Genesis into Black Silver Bahamut, especially with Bahamut being played as early as turn 6, turn 7 to just wipe your opponent's board, on top of the fact that they have cards like Conflagration and Serpent's Wrath. And then we've already had several Shadowverse EVOLVE Grand Prix happen, and we just see that over and over. Even with the release of Uma Musume, the 7th class for Shadowverse EVOLVE, it still ends up dominating, taking conversion rates up the wazoo. It's crazy. And we had to kind of think, okay, what was Dragon very good at doing? It was very good at ramping, that's Dragon's specialty, though.
But it's going to be hard to take that out, especially considering that's their main mechanic.
Taking things out, people are like, okay, Dragon Oracle Limited, no, it's
and you can't really mess with the overflow stuff, especially what's coming in the future, potentially.
Right.
If we're looking at the actual Shadowverse
yes,
game.
if we can make that, sure, by restricting Dragon Oracle, we would make it harder to ramp, but not impossible. Sure, we have Aiello, Dragon Knight, we have Draconic Fervor. Sure, we have cards like that. But, not really replaces turn 2 Dragon Oracle across those two cards.
So basically, as an also explanation too about explaining the ban list, the main thing about this one, they call it the Hall of Fame stuff, which is an interesting name for sure.
Basically, Hall of Fame just means it's limited to one per deck.
Think of it like what a lot of things you see in Overdress and things like that.
Like an MVP sort of. Yeah, it's like you're so good, you deserve to be a one-off. That's what I'm thinking.
And the main hits.
And then if Dragon Oracle is like a clear hit, and we're kind of thinking, okay, what else is Dragon very good at doing? And we think, okay, what's almost every Dragon deck like to play that's specific to Dragon? Shenlong. What does Shenlong do? On play, an easy draw to discard one, and you could pay a very tiny evolution cost, just 2 across 2 play points and or evolution points to heal 5, and on top of that it has ward. It starts as a 4/5 becoming a 6/7 on the ball.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy stat line in my opinion. Shenlong has been a crazy card, hasn't been
Yeah, it's been quite the staple. You see this in a lot of different Dragon decks, especially. And I think, too, it's just, nice, good, generic support just for its splashability in a lot of these types of builds.
Sometimes people know about transitioning from, modern digital Shadowverse to Shadowverse EVOLVE is that draw power is not really there.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that Dragon, specifically, is the only class that has access to Shenlong, it's pretty crazy. On top of what it does, combine that with the fact that Serpent's Wrath and Conflagration are in the same class, you have a very solid foundation of a powerful control deck.
With that also being said, I guess we can go a little bit more on talking about analysis. The decks that did affect it, as we can see, is Control Wrap going to Tier 1, basically.
Yeah, Control Wrap is still playable, again, Serpent's Wrath, Conflagration have been untouched, Dragon Oracle untouched. You just simply don't get to have all the sustain by having 2 additional copies of Shenlong to evolve into.
I think also this does bump up a lot of different classes that were kind of middling overall.
Basically aggro and mid-range decks kind of jumped back up because they were kind of grinded out of the game because of Control Dragon.
Yeah. There was a lot of different mixture of what's like the best deck after Uma and Dragoncraft.
Right.
And you can go to a lot of different mixtures. You can go to Havencraft, you can go to Swordcraft.
Heavenly, almost no class has a good answer to Heavenly Aegis.
Yeah, and I think also too as well, we kind of saw this coming in terms of the deck stuff, is that also potential future Dragon support may be a bit lowering down too as well, so I think it's also a perfect time to get that extra cherry on top.
Yeah, so the good thing is the third set is actually going to take, it's kind of like going like a slightly different direction, because the third set, if I'm not mistaken, is called Flame Leva King, so it's to bring out all of the cards from the current Shadowverse Flame anime, so Leva King, Dragon, Mystic King, Cosmo Fan, etc. So by introducing these new archetypes, we do end up shifting the meta towards like side grades versus strict upgrades.
Yeah, and basically like Dragoncraft, similar to what Havencraft is right now, but not onto an extreme level, basically gets better with age. So that's something that Dragoncraft has just continually been good at since the start of the game too as well.
I think like Leva King, Dragon defense mode on top of Shadow would have been pretty dumb.
To transition that too as well, let's talk about was this the right hit? As you talked about with Dragon Oracle and also other potential cards that could be done.
So like sure, you can make an argument about Oracle, but as we were saying, Oracle was kind of a, it's one of those like, well, if Dragon needs to have it, otherwise it's not really Dragoncraft anymore, right? Losing the ability to ramp at turn 2 it's going to be pretty painful. Because Dragon's already it's supposed to already be weak to aggro by default. Because you're spending turns, you're spending tempo to ramp by being ahead of tempo later on.
We've tested this too with Nightmare as well. Nightmare is unfortunately like one of the weaker classes at the moment. However, it's like one of the best anti-meta picks. But compare that to Uma Musume, where Uma Musume is a very good aggro deck, but even has just like that extra sparkle to it.
The cards in Uma Musume are just able to, you can play aggro, but you can also like answer certain threats on the board if you ever have to, right?
Yeah, that's a good thing too about that, is that some people also consider a lot of quicks in this too as well. The nice thing is about answering a lot of your opponent's boards, and Dragoncraft is really very fitting for TCGs in terms of that.
Serpent Wrath is a quick, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
You just deal that easy 4-6 damage to enemy target follower. Pretty powerful for a 3-drop.
And then anyways, next to that too as well, let's talk about the standard. Now that the first ever Hall of Fame hit ever comes, the big thing too as well, the big question I also want to introduce too as well, Uma Musume looks to be the next tier 0 deck that's remaining at the moment, but despite back and forths overall about is it a tier 0 deck?
Right. I will make the argument personally that yes, Uma Musume is powerful, but as long as they don't, there's one big difference between Uma Musume and the initial 6 classes is that Uma Musume as the 7th class is most likely not going to be supported regularly, if at all.
Yeah, so potentially by age is potential there.
Like it could be one of those things where it will just like get stuff like it could. I do fear that Saigas and Wishio could end up making a new Bermuda Triangle problem by spacing out the support for Uma Musume by a long gap. That we had to end up making it more OP in a short amount of time.
The big thing I think though is if we're actually looking to talk about direct hits onto Uma Musume if necessary, Daiwa Scarlet has been in the conversation for a lot of it.
Right, because Daiwa Scarlet interacts with vodka
to gain just even more like thorough attack moves.
You basically just like make a insane board that your opponent has no definitive answers to it. You just die on the turn after. The only
counter argument though about this is that they're gonna, if they hit Daiwa to 1, that basically kills off that vodka engine, which will be very unfortunate.
And that engine is kind of what allows them to kind of push facing turn, because Daiwa's a 6-drop if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So they usually like if I'm not mistaken, most Musume just aim to end the game like on turn 6, turn 7.
Yeah, they are pretty fast pace overall.
Because Daiwa Scarlet, if I'm not mistaken, has Storm. Yeah, it has Storm, okay.
And then I guess for the conclusions overall here, I think the biggest thing to come out of this is that side games are at least pretty much aware about potential issues and stuff like that. This is the direction that I really want the game to go to. Be especially aware, figure out what's going to be the thorough problems. It took them a while, but I think they're going to finally get used to this with this Hall of Fame
introduction. It is going to take a while. The fact that the product releases are also just going into slightly different directions by supporting, say, the anime archetypes versus directly continuing down Starforge Legends, Brigade of the Sky.
And if that was the
etc.
case, we see a lot of like fluctuation. Like I believe Forestcraft used to be like kind of thoroughly weak at the moment until it started getting like those nice pieces that you see in some of the
like Fairy Temple is a deck, and it's not a horrible tier 2 deck, right?
Yeah. And I think I'm just really excited about the direction that Side Games is too as well. They recently announced a lot of their stuff with their eventing, but that's a different video for another time. But I think that's for competitiveness too as well. As long as they kind of keep these tier 0 decks tame, then this should have like a nice flowing through for years to come.
Definitely. Hopefully they, every now and then they just kind of take a look at what's been going on in their big Grand Prix events and so on, and just go, yeah, there's a problem, we should do something about it. But hopefully this also pushes design towards a direction where they don't need to overcrowd the Hall of Fame list and beyond.
Yeah. One thing too as well I'm curious about is if they transition this to English, right? Will the Shenlong hit carry over? I think potentially you can have it at a length of not really similar to that, but a bit shorter in terms of that. But the length should be at least like thoroughly balanced to where
either that or we just simply end up playing so differently from Japan that we don't have to hit Dragon.
Yeah.
That could be another option. No, maybe if you already come out going, yeah, I'm just gonna play Control Nightmare off the get-go, and Control Nightmare, actually I wish an early Dragon, before they get Black Silver Bahamut, could be the thing that keeps Dragon from like really playing the game effectively, because Dragon will mine it so much that a Shenlong, Bellringer, etc. can only make up so much for the discard stuff that Nightmare will do. Again, we don't know what Nightmare's gonna be. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, it's kind of the class where it's kind of mixed for a lot of different times, like with the Necro Charge and also
Crimson.
paying yourself too as well.
Yeah, Crimson Necro Charge are very interesting things.
Last thing too as well, I'm really excited to see about more of the future of the game. I'll do more of these like discussion topics too as well. But yeah, speaking of it from a Swordcraft player too as well, to kind of like go back to that down to earth tier 1, which we kind of want to see in a lot of different decks, to be honest.
But where like every class could play somewhat evenly to an extent. There's like no clear-cut answer. Think say anyone that plays a digital game, Fortune's Hand, where there are multiple decks across multiple classes that are just considered good. That's that sort of format. Maybe not with easy neutral staples, perhaps, but with like good support cards that like definitively define that class, but still being powerful enough to compete with one another for very even matchups throughout the board.
And yeah, that should be pretty much it on this. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to go check us out more for Shadowverse EVOLVE content coming out in the future. Continue to embrace darkness, and we will see you all in the next video.
Alright, bye-bye.